Hola, hola, buenas, ¿qué tal? Bueno, Nivel 84 hoy es un programa un poco raro para nosotros porque venimos con una entrevista muy temática. Ya sabéis que hace un par de semanas hablamos de pelis de serie B y una de las pelis de serie B de las que hablamos fue el Velocipastor y bueno, pues hoy hemos traído al director del Velocipastor, ¿no? Entonces, Gúndula, ¿qué tal? Bueno, Brendan Steere, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Okay.
Hola.
Hola. It's the only word, Spanish word you're going to say, ¿no? In the
Only one.
interview.
Only one.
Okay, okay. Bueno, y con nosotros está Gúndula, que ha sido la precursora de toda esta idea loca porque se puso a contactar con él. Bueno, Gúndula, cuéntanos cómo fue todo esto.
Bueno, pues después de ver la película que me flipó, pues lo vi que estaba en Twitter, hablé con él, le pregunté si podía hacernos una entrevista en el podcast y nos dijo que sí y aquí estamos.
Bueno, la única condición es que tenía que ser en inglés porque él no habla en español. Ok, so let's go to English. Let's change to English. And desde esta parte en adelante, toda la entrevista va a ser en inglés. Bueno, en nuestro Spanglish, ¿vale? En nuestro Spanglish. Ok, so Brendan, where are you right now?
I am in Southern California. I am in Pasadena, which is right next to Los Angeles.
Okay, you said a little moments ago that it was like the Bronx from New York.
Yeah, it's sort of it is to Pasadena is to Los Angeles what Brooklyn is to New York City, where it's like it's right there. So most of the time I'd say I am in Los Angeles.
And you support Los Angeles Clippers or Los Angeles Lakers?
Lakers. I gotta say Lakers.
Yeah. Lakers, no? You've got the ring this year. You've got the ring.
I know, right?
Okay, Velocipastor.
Yes.
You have to explain why and how.
Yeah. The film began in 2011 when I was at film school. I was texting my friend about dinosaurs, as one does, and my phone auto-corrected Velociraptor to Velocipastor. And I was like, oh no, that sounds like a fucking movie. I had been.
So you got the title before the movie?
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Yeah,
and I got the title from an autocorrect on my phone.
Two of my favorite things: Hot Priest and Dinosaur.
Same. It's so
my favorite.
I had been Grindhouse had just come out, right? And so I loved Tarantino and Rodriguez. I really liked their work, and especially at the time, it was interesting to me that you could do a short film that was just a trailer, like just a fake trailer. That was a very new idea back then. And so in 2011, I made a short film called The Velocipastor, and it was just a short trailer. It's like 2 minutes or so. And so I made it, and all of my videos on YouTube had like 20, 30 views. And then all of a sudden here was one that had like 30, 40,000. So it just sort of blew up and did what its thing was. I tried to kickstart it and it failed like 3 or 4 times. I could not find money for this movie. I went on and I did a different film. I made a feature called Animosity. And it's a very serious horror film, a very dark, disturbing. It's a lot like Antichrist by Lars von Trier, which is one of my favorite movies. And so, I adore von Trier. And anyway, I couldn't stop thinking about the Velocipastor. It just seemed like such a fun idea. And so eventually in 2016, I got some funding for the movie, and we shot it for 35,000. Oh yes. Okay, all right. So we ended up shooting the movie. The funding we got because I had a very serious girlfriend at the time, and her mother was connected in the art world, particularly in China. And so her mom worked as an art curator, a very talented one. And so when you work in film, people will often reach out to you with all of the best intentions, kind of saying, hey, I think I know where you can find money. I think I know where you can get funding, things like that. And my ex's mother reached out to me saying that. And quite honestly, I didn't think anything of it. Because it happens, you know, and it never goes anywhere. And so she reached out to me, asked me how much money I would need to make the Velocipastor. And I said, I don't know, like $30,000, you know, that'll be fine. I think I could do it for that. And yeah, 2 days later, she had found a Chinese woman who I have never met who gave me $35,000 and asked for nothing. I do not know who this woman is. I have never met this woman, and she does not speak English.
You know that probably this money comes from mafia or something like that, don't you?
Oh yes, it's occurred to me that this was a money laundering operation, and you know what? I'm fine with it. I'm really okay with it. They, as far as I'm concerned, I did nothing illegal. I made a movie. So that is how we got the money. It was $35,000. We got it from a Taiwanese woman who has never seen the film and does not care about this movie. Okay. And so
she hasn't seen the film.
I do not believe she has. I've tried to get it to her a couple of times. And so, okay, there's a certain level of rich person that is able to just sort of walk into like a clothing store and drop $40,000 or $50,000, and that's not weird to them. And I think this woman is one of those people, and I think that she truly forgot that she gave me money.
I think, Brendan, that you have to introduce me to that woman.
Truly. I truly am just kind of like, I want to get back in touch with that woman at some point, but as of right now, I am just happy that she does not seem interested in recouping her costs. And so, yeah, we made the movie and everybody seems happy.
And how much did you earn with this movie?
How much did I earn?
Yeah.
I do not know yet, actually. Okay. Interesting question. I know that we've made the budget back.
Mm-hmm. That's important.
Yeah. So I know we did that, but the funny thing about Velocipastor is, unlike a lot of movies, it did not ever.
It's so different from everything.
Yeah, it didn't release theatrically. Like we never had a theater release. So it was not like most movies when you go on Box Office Mojo or like their IMDb or something, you know, it says this is what it cost, this is what it made. And what they're telling you on what it made is its box office return, you know, and they're not telling you what it made on home video. All we have is home video. So it's like a very different, you don't get those numbers as sort of a big upfront sum. You sort of get them in small trickles. Yes. So I can tell you that as of right now, we have made the money back.
Okay.
And that's pretty good.
Well, that's a very good news. That's a very good news.
Yes.
And well, I don't know if you knew, well, you should know that it was in Amazon Prime Video.
Yes.
What was the feeling in that moment that someone told you or someone wrote you and someone give you a call saying okay, I want your film in Amazon?
I didn't know it was on Amazon until somebody told me. What ended up happening was so we released on DVD and Blu-ray in August 2019 in North America, just in America. We still have not had a release outside of North America.
I know.
I know, it's the worst. I really want them to sell to foreign territories, and they're trying. But it's so interesting because it's. I'm trying to think of how to say it. Is similarly to what you asked about how much money it made. One of the strange things about this movie that is just very odd, very weird, is that what ended up happening was this. We release in August 2019 in America. Almost immediately, there is worldwide demand for this movie. Like, it blows up online. Which none of us expected would happen. So all of a sudden we sell out of copies, like immediately. And so that just sort of keeps happening. And there's no way to get the movie to people not in North America who are asking for the movie. So what ends up happening is we start running into a real problem with piracy because there's no other way for people to get it. And it's like, I completely understand why. It's a big ask to ask like somebody in Belarus to buy a Blu-ray to get shipped to them. So
you cannot ship from North America to Belarus, for example.
You can. But it's the kind of movie that, you know, most of the time when people see it, they want to watch it with friends now. Yes. Like they you know, they see the title
drunk.
And they're
I'm probably
yes,
drunk.
exactly. Yes, that is like they're either drunk or high, or they're like in a party, or even if they're just at home with like their wife or husband or girlfriend or boyfriend, they see the title of the movie and the thought is not, let me order a Blu-ray so that in 5 months I will be able, it's, you want to see it now. So I completely understand why there has been so much piracy. Which brings us to the question about Amazon Prime. I found out we were on Amazon Prime in January was when we got on it, January of 2020. And I realized we were there because we blew up on Reddit and I was doing an AMA on Reddit and people started telling me that it was on Amazon Prime and they were watching it right now. And all of a sudden I realized that, oh, good, because that is the way the movie has been intended to be seen from the very beginning. It's a theater or you're streaming it, because, you know, it's the fastest way to get it to people. And I think that's important for this movie.
And you have a very, I don't know, light idea of how many people have seen it?
I have no idea. I truly do not know. A lot, a lot of people. I can tell you that because so after a while, part of the reason I know this is because of the piracy. After a while, I would, not to try and take them down, but just out of curiosity, I would Google Velocipastor torrent, you know, to just see. Yeah. And I would find like 30 results. They all had 40,000 downloads and seeds. And I was like, okay, a lot, a lot of people have seen it, but I do not know how many.
Okay. And Gundula, whenever you want, you get into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, please.
Well, a couple of days ago, you put a tweet about Velocipastor second part.
Yes.
And we thought a little bit about possible names. Okay, Tyrannosaurus Priest.
Okay.
Carno Preacher.
Carno Preacher is good. I like that
one. Tell us about the second part.
Yeah, it's very different. I'm very excited for it. So the idea is that you know, I think part of the appeal of Velocipastor is that it's insane. It's like it just sort of it has that what the fuck factor, and that I think is part of why it became a meme. Like, we're one of the few movies that basically got advertised only through memes. Like, I didn't pay for advertising. The whole reason that we're here
You didn't pay nothing for advertising?
I did not pay anything. I think I paid like $20 for an Instagram post. Like, that's it. Okay. That's the amount of marketing I did. I know our distribution company did put some money towards marketing, but certainly not what most of our marketing, I think, came through the internet and things like this. Word of mouth, people telling other people to see it. And so I think that what the fuck factor was a big part of that appeal. So for part 2, I wanted to just do something completely bizarre and out of similarly strange. And so it takes place in 1880s Australia. And it is about a psychic lesbian school teacher who fights Dracula. And that is the second part. It is called Outback Dracula. and we're going to be using a lot of the same cast, a lot of the same crew, and it's very much, the idea is to do it almost like an American Horror Story, where each one is just a completely different
of the other.
Yeah, but with the same people, with the same cast, with the same sense of fun.
With
and
the same spirit. The
exactly.
same spirit of the one. Okay.
Exactly. And the idea is then to eventually get back to doing whatever we're going to keep doing with these characters. But I just wanted to do something completely different first. So I think we're probably going to do Outback Dracula and then maybe Velocipastor 3. And that way we'll just skip number 2.
Okay,
and we'll just see what happens.
The trilogy is coming. Okay, the trilogy is coming.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I do want it to be a trilogy.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, and how are you going to find the money for the second part?
I'm just gonna ask a bunch of Chinese people. No, I have no idea. I don't know. This week is actually when we're starting to reach out to possible investors. I sent the first email this morning, so hopefully we will soon see. But I wanted to wait until we were sure it was safe with the pandemic, with you know. The American election and all of that. So
yeah, well, we will talk about the American election later on. Okay,
we will.
Do you have any other work that is not filming or something like that?
Yeah, I do music.
Okay.
I have a sick band. That's right. We are called Free Parking. We've released 4 albums.
Great. 4 albums.
Yeah,
Free
yeah.
Parking.
We've been.
Okay,
Free parking, yeah, with an exclamation point. So free parking.
Free parking.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna tell you something that like 2 years ago, I worked in a company that it was like you have a parking, but you go to work, so and you leave your parking free.
Got it.
For
got
8 hours. So you can rent your parking. Your place while you are in your work, and I was in this company for I don't know 6 or 7 months. It was a very junior company, and I don't know, obviously it broke up because in Spain that couldn't work. So, but that was one of my job experience, but like some years ago. Okay,
that's amazing.
It's great that you have a band. It's good that you work in music. And one question that you talk about Tarantino, you talk about Lars von Trier. Who are your references?
But all of them. Of course, I do still love a lot of their work. A lot of Japanese directors. I really, in college, I studied East Asian film first and foremost. So a lot. I mean, of course, the Kurosawas, the Ozus, all of them. I really love this Japanese director called Hideaki Anno. He made a show called Neon Genesis Evangelion in the 90s. And he made a show. He made the last Godzilla movie, Shin Godzilla. Really underrated director. I really adore his work. Satoshi Kon, huge influence. Yeah, it's a lot of the Japanese, believe it or not. I think that they have a very and the Koreans, of course, Park Chan-wook.
Yeah, Koreans. Have you seen Train to Busan?
Yes, of course. Yeah. The Koreans are killing it right now. Yeah. I'm very impressed with all the work coming out of there. And of course, Bong Joon-ho, it's like things like Parasite are incredible. Honestly, out of American directors, you pretty much have the Coens and David Fincher. And it's like, I think that there are a lot of very talented people working, but those are my favorites. I really adore their work.
And what about David Lynch? Not Fincher, Lynch.
So I am from Montana. David Lynch is also from Montana. He is like the only famous person from Montana.
Well, not anymore.
well, hey. But he's from Missoula. I'm from Billings. One day we'll fight. But no, I do quite like David Lynch. I like a lot of his stuff. And final one. There's an American filmmaker called Kelly Reichardt. She does much smaller films. But I think her work is so good. and I just adore her stuff. So I don't know. I like a lot of movies, so I am sort of a sponge where I just like seeing new and different ways to see the world.
And some actors that you would like to work with?
Lakeith Stanfield. Yeah, Lakeith Stanfield. I'd really like to work with him. He was the lead of Sorry to Bother You, and he was in Get Out as well. I love his work. I'd love to work, and of course, there's the established people where I'm kind of like, yeah, I'd like to work with Leonardo DiCaprio. I think Leo DiCaprio is an incredible actor, and I'm just sort of like, yeah, like, and one other strange one. There's an Australian actress named Adelaide Kane. She was in, yeah. I feel like she's done great work, but I feel like she hasn't gotten that role yet. That I'm like, you'll kill it. And I'd love to give her that role. I think I could do that. So I'd like to work with Adelaide at some point.
Okay. And well, what do you think about American elections?
Well, at the very least, it went on very smoothly, and we never. Oh my God, dude! Jesus fucking Christ! It was a rough one. Yeah, it was a rough one.
Well, it's still being a rough one.
It is. Yeah, I think. I lived in Europe for a bit. I lived in France and Germany. I am probably more traveled than a lot of Americans I know. And so perhaps that influences my worldview. And so my thought about this last election was that it was, in no small terms, a real question of what America was going to mean to the world going forward. Like, it's a strange thing to be a straight white American guy sometimes, because you realize you are the empire. Like, you are the problem. You know what I mean? Like, it's sort of sure. American hegemony, especially over Europe, but everywhere in across the entire world is a major thing. It's just true, and it's uncomfortable, but it's true. There was a long time in America, we have like Little Italy, Little Tokyo, things like that. And I wondered for a long time where the little Americas were in the world. Then I realized we call them military bases. And so it's like we have a very significant presence worldwide. So this election was very important because it was one of the few times that not only was the election, I think people not in America were just as worried about it as we were. And I think that that's relatively new. I think the two choices were obvious. The two choices are, do you want an America that is about individualism and me first, or do you want an America that is about globalism and cooperation? I think those were basically the choice. And we made what I considered the correct choice, but we scraped by. We barely made that choice. And it's uncomfortable. It is uncomfortable. Yeah, and it's something that, of course, I'm very happy with the result. I did vote for Biden. And I think that Trump is mind-boggling catastrophe. And has been, but he was part of the reason I moved to Europe. I moved to France in 2017 after he got elected, because I was done. I was done. And so I do not like the man.
But one thing that made me think about the American election, and well, I told you minutes ago that we had another program about politics, and yes. Last week we talked about the American elections, and we have a thought that it's quite worried to think that in the USA right now there is more voters for Trump than there were for Obama 8 years ago.
Yeah, I know, right?
And okay, Biden won. Okay, good news, but we must be worried.
Yes, yeah. Worried. I think I agree. And I think also, so there's two things I think that led to that. First of all, this was the most voted election of all time in America. You know, our population keeps growing, as does the world. So in some ways, I think that number is a bit of a misleading, because it is, yeah, there were more voters for Trump than Obama because more people voted, you know, like to a certain extent, that's true. But you're not wrong. And I think that the interesting thing is that those two visions of the world that I saw, sort of me first and also let's work together, these are two ideals that have been baked into America forever. It's like, you know, we're a country that was founded on open rebellion, first of all, and by, oh, hello. And it was a country of everybody's free and works together, founded by only white men who owned slaves. So it's sort of like that paradox is there from the very beginning of them saying, we're all going to work together and make a utopia, but me first, I own slaves. And so like, I think that these two ideas have always been there. And, you know, it's the funny thing to me is that Trump represents all of the ugliest things about my country that are in one, where it's, yeah, he is American. He could only be American. It's like, he has in him the same stuff that people like Henry Ford and Thomas Edison did. People that were willing to step on the little guy to make a thing happen. It's like, that's how we have got Ford, you know? I don't think that's a good thing, but it's fact. And it's interesting. I think that there are very big parts of the world and the country that does appeal to. If I may say one more thing.
Yeah, for sure.
I talked.
And two.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. True. Woo. I talked to a neighbor recently here that in California, which is very liberal for America.
Yeah.
And I talked to a neighbor that voted for Trump, and I wanted to ask her why, and I was very curious as to why, because to me he is just so horrible, you know, so repellent even. But the one thing she said that I did understand was that this year has been so chaotic. And her own personal life was falling apart. Her mother had just died. She lost her job. She couldn't afford rent this month. So she was talking to the landlord how to not pay rent. Like, that's where she was at. And on top of all of this, the election is happening. So for somebody like this, who's very scared about everything, the Trump is appealing because he comes in and says, the answer's easy, just do this. And that is appealing. I understand why that's appealing. Yeah. But the fact of the matter, but the truth is that the world is way too complicated now. We are all interconnected, whether we want to be or not. And so it's like, you know, 30 years ago, somebody in Kansas didn't have to worry about Syria. They didn't know where the fuck Syria was. And it's like, now you do. Now you do have to worry about Syria. And it's just different. I understand why so many people would look at a platform like Biden's and say, that doesn't have anything to do with me. I just want my job back. And so so I understand the appeal.
Yeah,
I'm very happy it didn't happen.
Yeah, it didn't work. It didn't work at all.
Yeah. I strongly disagree with this, but I at least understand.
Actually, the appeal, it worked, but the Biden appeal worked better.
Exactly. And it's like, there can be only one. So
Yeah.
let's try this.
But the thing is that I can understand also when so many people is in a dramatic position that with many familiars died because of the COVID, and they mostly lost their jobs because they don't have anything to do, or because the COVID stopped everything and that kind of things. I understand the message, that you accept the message that you are the first, I'm going to work for you, and okay, I understand that. I got you.
It's selfish, but it is appealing. It is the kind of thing that I understand why. Like, have you ever listened to Eminem? Like, you guys are aware who Eminem is.
Yeah, for sure.
A dude like Eminem, who Eminem was, a guy who's like dirt poor, lives in the middle of a shitty city, doesn't have any real prospects, is barely scraping by at McDonald's. This person does not care about, the geopolitical implications of what America is going to do. They care about, hey, do I have enough in my pocket to buy cigarettes? Because I've been there. I grew up in a poor part of Pennsylvania, and it's sort of like, I think I understand. But I think that is wrong. I think that it's wrong morally to only think about yourself. And so I'm sort of like, I voted for Biden. And I do not feel bad about that. I'm very happy about that.
No, I'm very happy also. Yeah. I'm very happy that you voted for Biden.
Same. Well, and honestly, especially during the election, so many texts from European friends just kind of being like, what is going on? What the fuck is the Electoral College? And like, what? And why do you have it?
Okay, Brendan, I need to ask you something. How many drinks that you have around you? Because I've seen like 3 or 4 right now.
I have 3. I also have sparkling water. And I was going to refill my coffee in just a second. I can take you on a tour.
Okay, yeah. Take me for the tour. Show me your house. Yeah, for sure.
Come along.
He has a cat too, George. He has a cat.
What?
Brendan has a cat.
A cat? Do you have a cat also?
Yeah.
A cat?
Where?
No.
A cat?
Cat? No, cat.
Cat.
A cat?
An animal.
A cat? The animal.
I do. Yes, a cat.
Yes, your cat. I see it.
Yes, I do have a cat. I think he's right outside. I'll see if he's there, and if he is, I will show him to you. But yeah, it's I don't know. It was a very stressful election, and I'm very happy that at the very least right now, it's an answer, because I think. Now he's outside. Sorry, I thought that the cat was right there. Okay. If I hear him, I will bring him in.
Okay.
I promise. But I am very happy that we at least have a decision, because my biggest fear, honestly, was that the election was November 3rd, technically, and we all knew that because of COVID, it was not going to be a one night and done thing. We knew that going in. My worry was that it would not be decided for more than a month. That was the fear I was holding, where I was like, I would have rather had a Trump re-election than to still not have a president-elect. Because I think that if it had dragged on into uncertainty that long, I don't know, I might not have a country. So I was worried.
But you consider that the election is over?
I do.
Okay,
I do.
Because some people here, in Spain, we received some news that something has to be recounted and
sure.
Okay, but you, as American, consider that it is over, and
I consider it over.
On the 20th of January, you have new person in the White House, don't you?
Yes, I am very certain that's going to happen. Very certain. What I think is happening right now is this. I think that the election has been decided. We have a president-elect. Trump will continue to try and litigate. He will continue to keep throwing lawsuits and everything at it. And he will do that until he is arrested. Like, he will keep doing that. And honestly, I am not sure he will leave the White House. There is a version of this where I think that he gets dragged out by the National Guard. I do. I don't know if that's the only thing that. I think it's possible that will happen.
No, that would bring a civil war. Well, I can accept that is going to happen.
I don't think it will, but I do think that he will at some point. Like, somebody will be like, you gotta leave. Like, you can't stay here. And so I do think that he will continue. I don't know if he'll ever concede the election, but legally he does not have to. And so here, the worst case scenario is that he gets a program like an InfoWars or something and just kind of doesn't shut up for the rest of his life. I think that that's very possible. I think that the question becomes how many people listen, because I think, well, yes, he inspires an undeniable amount of loyalty and fervor amongst people. That much is not debatable. He inspires people. I will give him one thing. You know, he might not have made America great again, but he definitely made them vote again. It's like everybody voted in this election because they had an opinion on Donald Trump. And so I don't know. He's fascinating, and I think that we will be dealing with him for a long time. But I do think the election is over. I think that.
Okay.
Yeah.
You just say a very interesting thing, because you think that everybody have an opinion about Donald Trump. So how many of the Biden voters voted for Biden or voted anti-Trump?
It's a tough question. I have no idea. I actually did vote for Biden because I agreed with most of his views. There are certain things that I did not, but overwhelmingly he was the better option. So I of course went for him, and I do not regret it. I think that there were a very large amount of Democratic voters that wanted Bernie, wanted somebody more extreme, somebody more to the left than Biden. And I think for a lot of those people, yeah, it was definitely an anti-Trump vote. And certainly for a lot of the Republicans that flipped, it was certainly an anti-Trump vote. Certainly. I know a good amount of people who are Republicans and voted for Biden because they hate Trump. Because
Biden just look like a little bit like Trump.
Yeah, they got confused. Yeah, they got a little confused. They were like, "Wait, which white man?" Yeah,
this 78 old man is gonna be rich in the White House. Okay.
Oh, trust. Oh, please.
At this point of the interview, we always make some very quick questions. Gun, ¿las quieres hacer tú? Las preguntas rápidas. ¿No? Bueno, okay.
I'm listening.
Okay. ¿Recomendas a Spanish film?
A Spanish film?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. All the ones that are coming to Head or Central America right now. Almodovar. I love Pedro Almodovar. I really love The Skin I Live In. That's my favorite Almodovar film.
Okay. And a Spanish serie? Do you know some Spanish serie?
I don't actually.
Okay. It's just to know. No, it's okay. Yeah. It's just to know. And okay, actually, right now, your favorite film?
Yes. My favorite film right now. Solaris, the Russian movie. Solaris, Andrei Tarkovsky's film. I love that movie.
And a recommendation of one film that is not your favorite, or series that you're watching right now, you have recently watched or something like that?
I just started watching The Sopranos. I had never seen it. And honestly, it's good. Yeah, it's really good. I'm not very into mafia things. And so it really surprised me how much I love it. I really adore it.
I just started to rewatch again Battlestar Galactica. So I love it.
Hell yeah, great show.
Yeah.
Yeah, Battlestar is terrific. I just, the last science fiction one I got through was Stargate. I'd never seen Stargate SG1, and so I watched the whole thing. It was very fun.
It was very long, actually.
Oh God, yeah, it took like a year, like to slowly work through it. But yeah, it was fun.
Your favorite book? I've seen that you have a lot of books.
I do. I love books. Oof, my favorite book is a tough one. The last one I read that I really loved was, I read this. It was really interesting. It's not a big book. I don't even know if it's been translated yet. But there was this science fiction, this fantasy book I read called The Monster Baru Cormorant. And it was...
Never heard about it.
I know, it's not a big book here either. It was recommended to me by one of my friends, actually during the election, because it was... it's all about colonialism and sort of like the interesting things that come from that and where colonialism begins and ends. It's very interesting. And it fucking ruled. I don't know. I read it in like 2 sittings and I already got the second one. So yeah, interesting book. Monster Baru Cormorant. If it comes out on Espanol, definitely check it out.
Okay. Do you practice any sports?
I rock climb, actually.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. I
do
really miss my indoor gym. I do bouldering now, because all of the gyms are closed, but I really loved doing it inside as well. Yeah.
I love it also. Well, I rough hands also.
Same.
In this pandemic world, this is a little bit political question. Do you think children are safe in the schools?
No, I don't. But I also do not have children, so I don't really get a say in it. But I would suspect they are not. But I don't know.
Okay. How much does it cost a COVID treatment in USA?
COVID treatment? I do not know. A lot, I would assume. But I have no idea. Mercifully, nobody very close to me has caught COVID. I know people who, like sort of a friend of a friend who did, but not very close to me.
Okay. You're lucky.
I'm very lucky. I do know somebody that caught it, but it was a very, in terms of COVID, it was a very light case. Like she stayed home for 2 or 3 weeks, just basically had a shitty cold and was okay. But so that she was very lucky.
This question was because I think that that in the most countries of Europe, the insurance is for free for the most of the people.
Yes.
So I just wanted to know, to compare how much does it cost now.
A lot. In comparison to Europe, a whole lot. A lot. But I had to go to the hospital.
This lot is like 1,000 euros, 10,000 euros, or 100,000 euros.
God, I mean, it really depends on what you're getting done. I think if it's for a very severe case, and I do, this is me guessing. I don't know for sure. I would not be surprised if it's 60 or 70,000 euros. I wouldn't be shocked, but I don't know. It's
a big car.
Yeah, a big car. and that is on top of the insurance. Like that is the insurance you would be paying. So it would cost more than that.
What do you think about bullfighting?
Bullfighting. Honestly, I have never seen a bullfight. So
lucky you.
I know. I think it's a bit barbaric, but it's also, I honestly, having never been to Spain, I would feel weird saying that. So I would want to see one first, but my initial impression is yikes. But I have never been to Spain. So
Okay, well, whenever you want, you can come to Barcelona. You can stay at my house, and
I would love to come to Barcelona.
Well,
So the thing, I have a room for you.
I won't invite you. I won't invite you to see
Yes.
bullfighting because I am really against it. But if you want to go and watch it,
I'll take
I
your
don't
word.
let you neither.
If an actual Spanish person was like, "Don't do it," I'm like, okay. I am okay with that.
Okay, who is better,
Mhm.
MG, Michael Jordan, or LeBron James?
I like LeBron. I do. And I think that they are both incredible basketball players.
Yeah.
I like LeBron better as a person. I think he seems like a nicer man. So I'm sort of
That's a
like
good
LeBron.
Okay. What do you think about these countries that have a king instead of a republic?
I mean, I don't like monarchies. I think that absolute power is probably not a good thing, is definitely not a good thing. But also, I feel like a lot of the European countries, the monarchy is kind of vestigial.
Representative thing, yeah.
Yeah. It's sort of like, it's kind of like having a mascot that occasionally does things. I don't think that Elizabeth II of England is running England. I think that she is occasionally giving advice. And so for something like that, I'm kind of indifferent. I certainly don't think that she's like this evil, but I prefer no monarchs. So yeah.
Okay, in one word.
Mhm.
In one word. George Lucas. One or
yeah.
two? Okay.
Okay, I'll do two. I'll say visionary, senile. That's George Lucas.
Okay,
That's
okay.
what I got.
Edward Norton.
Sorry, say again?
Edward Norton.
Fun.
Okay. Javier Bardem.
Oh, handsome.
Angelina Jolie.
Less handsome somehow.
Oh, really?
No, I'll say
I really love her. I mean,
I like her as well. I like her as well. I really do.
No, I love her. No, I don't like. I love her.
You are bigger on Angelina than me. I will say talented. I really like her work.
Penélope Cruz.
Hot. That's all I got. I was trying to not say it. I'm so attracted to Penelope Cruz. I think that she's gorgeous.
Okay. Donald Trump. Hot also.
A pain in the ass.
Yeah, I'll say tyrant.
Okay.
Tyrant.
Lars von Trier.
Troll. What a troll.
That's a good one, not troll. Antonio Banderas.
Ooh, so suave. I think that of him as very cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Clint Eastwood.
Uncompromising.
Uncompromising. Why? I would like to understand this one.
Yeah, I think that I don't always agree with what he does. And I definitely think that he's lost his touch as a director.
Okay.
And certainly politically. But the one thing I will say for Clint Eastwood is he always means it. He really does always, he's always being honest with you. He's always saying exactly what he means.
Okay.
And I think that I respect that, even though I do not like the last 10 movies he did. But at the very least, it was like, he wasn't selling out. He was doing what he wanted. So, yeah.
David Lynch.
Weirdo.
Weirdo. Yeah, it's weird. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, smart guy, though. Very smart man.
Kamala Harris.
The word I have is hopeful. I'm hopeful.
Okay, great.
I am.
Oh, it's a good one. And Woody Allen?
Was good. Was good. He's a little bit of a creep, honestly. I like some of his movies. But certainly I do not think.
I-
I think he is a very good illustration of why you should not make one movie a year. Because yeah, you get lazy. Of course you do.
The very last question right now, and this one is the last one. Recommend us a place to go on holiday.
On holiday. Oh, if you've never been to Heidelberg, Germany, I think it's gorgeous. Heidelberg, yeah. It's a college town. It has one of the oldest universities in Germany there. And it's right underneath this very distinctive castle, the Heidelberg Schloss, that Louis XIV of France destroyed because he thought it was too beautiful. So it's like still half up. And so it's like this gorgeous city in the middle of a valley, and they have the strongest beer in Germany there.
That's a good, very important thing.
And it's very good. It's very good beer. It's a cool city. It's just a gorgeous place to just sort of, I don't know, get lost for a while. And one of the great philosophers was there. I'm not going to remember, but one of the great German philosophers studied there. So if you're really into whoever that was, you can go and enjoy that as well.
Okay, Brendan, it was such a pleasure to have this time with you.
Next time I will speak a little more.
Sounds good. And next time I will try Spanish.
Okay.
I learn you and you learn me.
For sure, I want the exclusivity for the Spanish interview for Velocipastor 2. Okay.
You have it. I will keep studying Spanish, and I will do my absolute best.
Okay, and take sure that if you want to, you come to Spain, you can keep in touch, and you can come to see us and have some good food, and really, you are really invited. Because
I'd really like to. It's funny. I had to leave Europe after France and Germany, and truly, Spain was the one big country I did not get to. It was like the one I got to see Italy and England and all of sort of the bucket list ones. And the two that I did not get to see were Spain and Switzerland. And I wanted to see Spain more. No offense, Switzerland. I'm sure it's very nice, but
yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, keep in touch, Brendan. Keep in touch, and
yes.
Okay, we'll
we'll do.
Okay, thank you, Brendan.
Thank
we love
you.
you,
Gracias.
Brendan.
Muchas gracias. Very much appreciated.